Ferrari was at I'll cut this out. Ferrari was at the Final X in New York.
Really?
Yeah, he was just walking around in a suit, and like all the kids were taking pictures of Bo Nickel. It was cool.
That's awesome. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the My Parents Office podcast. I am your host, Andrew Diaz. Today, Brett Castle, we got him back. We are going to be hopefully back to at least our kind of original recording schedule for the few months of the summer that I'll be home. Quick note, if you're watching this on YouTube, you see I got the redesigned office kind of in the background.
I love this.
Yeah, I think it's Sandgrain Studio is where we got these, but it's pretty sick. They have like a bunch of music ones too. Like they had a pretty cool kid or an OK Computer Radiohead one. But I got the Shawshank Redemption, Whiplash, and Fight Club. And it's like got the whole cast down below too, like the main people building it. But
can you send me a link to that?
I will. Yeah, I saw the website and it was a pretty sick one. I can't lie.
I just watched sorry.
No, what's up? You go.
I just watched Primal Fear for the first time a couple weeks ago, and it's crazy that two of Ed Norton's biggest roles is him playing two different people. Like both his characters are somebody with split personality disorder.
Fight Club, that one, and then his next biggest role I'd say would probably be American History X, where he just plays a Nazi, essentially.
Okay, other than that one, yeah.
He's played very bizarre, and then he's been a superhero too. He's been the Hulk.
And then I watched. I re-binged all of Wes Anderson's movies. So he plays a Cub Scout lead in Moonrise Kingdom, and he plays a cop in Grand Budapest Motel.
I want to talk about that. Hang on. Episode 138. Brett and I are back. Make sure you follow us on social media at My Parents Office, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. My Parents Office podcast on Facebook, articles from the office on Substack, and then also Student Union Sports, where I'm also writing. But so the Wes Anderson movies, those are ones I've wanted to get into, especially like Grand Budapest Hotel. I've seen as like kind of, I would say it's like not a cult classic because so many people like it, but it's like almost like I don't know, like a lot of his movies he feels like a cult director where he has a very loyal base that follows him. And I kind of want to get into those movies. I know it's on HBO, Grand Budapest. So I want to watch
Literally
that.
Start at the first movie, like start at Bottle Rocket, and get all the way to French Dispatch. Like you will not be let down with anything. And he has the same group of actors, or relatively the same group of actors from movie one to movie just came out this year. Like it's crazy to see like Jason Schwartzman, who plays the main character, the kid in Rushmore, and you see him playing a hotel the dude who works the front desk at a hotel in Grand Budapest. Like
I think stuff like that's becoming more common too, where certain directors have like the same people they work with. The biggest that I can think of is like Adam McKay. In his two like very serious movies that he directed, The Big Short and Vice, two guys that star in both of those, like that are the main guys, are Carell and Bateman. And then all throughout his career, the comedies he's directed, Talladega Nights, Step Brothers, and both Anchormans and Step Brothers, he has Will Ferrell, Steve Carell, all those guys that are in it.
Who is Bateman in Vice?
Jesus. Oh, Bale, Christian Bale. I was thinking Patrick Bateman. What a moron I am here. But have you seen Vice?
Yeah,
I watched it last
night. Dick Cheney movie. Yeah,
I thought
that dude's an asshole.
So I'm not a huge fan of like I didn't like Winning Time. I watched a few episodes of it and didn't enjoy it. And like Adam McKay kind of directs it the same way, where he like intersplices clips. And like I thought that was a little weird, and I wasn't a big fan of narration.
What's Winning Time?
The Lakers documentary TV
really?
show.
I was gonna give that a try. You don't like that?
Well, I don't like it because it's like a whole rewrite of history where he doesn't really like say that this is a rewrite of history. Like when you watch a Tarantino like Django or Bastards, you know it's a rewrite. He doesn't really say this. and then he's like rewriting history where he makes
No,
like
yeah,
Barry
yeah.
West look like this screaming racist, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar looked like an asshole, which like there's stuff that they put in that just didn't happen. So I wasn't a fan of that, but I really enjoyed Vice. I didn't think I'd like the narration at first, but there's so much complicated stuff that goes on. The narration kind of clears it up for you, which I thought was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
I like how the movie like ends halfway through and they're like, psych.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening? Because I like scrolled on my screen. I was like, it says an hour and 15 minutes left. What is going on? Um,
You know, for like, you wish that is how the movie ended because
Mhm.
it's based on a real person. You don't
Yeah.
want this real person to be going down this like relatively evil path of just ego and power. Like,
Mm.
you want him with a family.
Well, with him in that, I think like there was no doubt he was an asshole like before that, but he was never like evil, because even when the scene where he's with Carell's character Rumsfeld, he's like and they're talking about bombing Cambodia. He's kind of, you can tell, put off by it. And so like he's not really bad, he's just kind of an asshole through it. And then it's when he gets sucked back into BVP, he just
Yeah,
like presses on the gas and goes right past like where Rumsfeld was and just becomes like an evil person. I mean, Bush and Cheney, both of them are war criminals, but if that's really how it played out, Cheney's more to blame because
for
Bush
sure.
was just like a dummy in that. Like Sam Rockwell is great as George Bush in that.
Um, yeah, dude. I just rewatched The Fighter last night.
Another one I just watched recently.
That's funny. Did it just get put on Netflix? Like,
Yeah,
cause that's where I just watched it. I feel like it goes on like the title screen.
yeah, that's right.
Another
I
Christian
saw
Bale
like the
movie.
newly added. It was on there.
Yeah, like well, I watched Vice a while ago, but that early screening film I watched a couple weeks ago had
Yes, tell me about
Chris,
that.
I can't.
So wait,
I
okay, tell me the details around how you got the. So this is the new Christopher Nolan movie. This is the one we talked about a little while back. Where
Christian Bale.
I thought it was no. Isn't Nolan the director?
No,
Who's directing it?
I don't know the names of them. They were there. Hold on. Not a big name.
It should be on his IMDb page, right? So is this not the one that has that loaded cast that we were talking about
Oh,
before?
no.
So
With
did you
like
see
Cillian
Amsterdam?
Murphy the directors of this film, the director is Scott Cooper.
Scott Cooper. What fucking movie?
Um
The
I,
Pale
I
Blue
will
Eye.
say that what?
The Pale Blue Eye.
Yeah, this movie will probably be this guy's breakout.
Oh, I kind of like this little plot. I'm reading it's I kind of like that period of time, that 1830s, that Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, that premise online is very misleading. Like, I
Really?
read and I tried to do information of I tried to find out enough about this movie before going into it, and I was incredibly wrong with like everything I thought I knew going into it.
Mhm.
Like, how that plot on IMDb kind of just like how it writes Edgar Allan Poe in that.
Mhm.
It's really, I don't know who wrote that, but it's really nothing like what that film is. It is in that like 1800s time era.
Mhm.
Um very this is very broad, but Christian Bale's character plays a detective, and he's I think he was a retired detective, and he is hired by this like army school, I don't know what it's
Mhm.
called, to solve the plot or solve this kid's um uh suicide murder. Yeah, I
Gotcha.
can't, yeah, but it's very good. The kid who plays, or the dude who plays Edgar Allan Poe is Dudley from Harry Potter.
Oh, okay.
He's skinny now.
Really? Yeah. So that's interesting. I did not. So I knew about the two other Bale movies that were in either like that pretty much have dates to come out or just about done. Obviously, Amsterdam, which is the one with this Absolutely.
Insane.
It might be the biggest named cast, like other than like, I don't know, because all of these people are billed on it. I don't know how This Is the End was billed. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that one just had a lot of cameos, but this, like, the 8th or 9th guy down is Chris Rock and like Mike Myers.
Did you see Don't Look Up?
Hmm?
Did you see Don't Look Up?
No.
That was also Adam McKay, right? Or
Yeah.
um that they weren't really cameos, like pretty much like all the main, like Lawrence, DiCaprio, Meryl Streep, Jonah Hill, they all had pretty
Yeah.
sizable roles. Timothy Chalamet. The next Wes Anderson film might beat out. Well, it might be neck and neck with that new Christopher Nolan movie for casts.
Seriously?
Yeah, which I mean, that's kind of all of like. That's. Let's see who was in French Dispatch.
While you're looking that up, does so the first 4 people build on here, does this like, because there's bigger names like De Niro's the 6th guy, Mike Myers the 7th guy, Timothy Oliphant is the 8th guy. Does this top 4 kind of intrigue you as to maybe what way the film will go with Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, and Remy Malek?
Yeah.
It's definitely, it feels like a cast of people that I don't know if I'd want to see all of them in the same movie, but I'd love to see a movie where Bale and Malek are in it, because I think they're both, Bale obviously is a great actor, and Malek I think is, I wouldn't
love
even
Rami
say
Malek.
underrated at this point, because he's really come up through iRobot and then Bohemian Rhapsody, but he's not like a household actor name yet.
I think his face is household. Like, what was
Even
he?
though
That
because of iRobot, I think like his face was all over iRobot.
Yeah, but I mean, The Master.
I forgot about The Master.
But then, what's the new one? The new James Bond movie,
Oh yeah,
No Time to Die.
he was a great bad guy in that.
Yeah, well, there's probably like there's all these actors that you can be like, oh, this person was in this, that. Like, it's insane once you look at their like IMDb page. But yeah, someone like Remy Malek. Well, let's look at Fresh Dispatch real quick. Like, top few are Bill Murray, who's in like almost every Wes Anderson movie. Tilda Swinton, you know her by her face. I don't know about her.
Oh, God, well, I'm looking at her right now.
You would know her from Doctor Strange.
Yes, yes.
Timothy Chalamet, Owen Wilson, Adrian Brody, Leia Seydoux. She's in a new movie with Kristen Stewart.
Okay.
She was, I think her breakout movie was Blue is the Warmest Color. French movie with a very long and comfortable sex scene. Dude, it's wild. It's like straight up porn.
You got Benicio del Toro, Henry Winkler, Adrian Brody. This is a pretty loaded cast.
Well, let's think about like if
Christoph Waltz.
maybe I'm like, I feel like certain movies of Anderson's, some of the actors in those films, I feel like are more famous to me than they actually are. Because like, let's just say I watch like 5 Wes Anderson movies in a row, and they all have Owen Wilson. When I get to the 5th one, I'm like, here we go. It's the Owen Wilson. Who doesn't know him? Right. Like, even Adrian Brody. Like, well, he is pretty famous.
What was it? The Pianist he's in is
The
like
Pianist. Yeah.
That's like a huge film bro movie that people love. I wasn't a fan of it.
I love it. Did you ever get into Succession yet?
Not yet.
Okay, he has a sizable role in that.
Okay.
Sizable meaning important, not like
gotcha.
Yeah. Owen Wilson, it's crazy to think that he got his start into acting from Bottle Rocket, because him and Wes went to college together.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yes.
I've been on a big Bale kick, so I kind of want to stay on that. Does the new Thor, Love and Thunder, does that pique your
Dude, he is
interest at all?
terrifying in
He
that.
looks like thank you. He looks like the scariest villain. He has an unreal name, Gore the Butcher of the Gods. Like it's I'm so excited for this new Thor to come out and to just watch Bale's character just absolutely fuck shit up in this. Like it's gonna be so awesome.
Dude, I have chose to not watch the trailer for that one yet because I want to be I don't want to know anything going into it, but of course I've seen the images that were on Instagram the day after the trailer went out. I've seen the poster. Dude looks like the equivalent to Jared Leto and Morbius. Like
Did you see Morbius or no?
I want to. I haven't yet.
Oh, it looks terrible.
Yeah, dude. What is that on Rotten Tomatoes? Like 18? Not good.
16%.
Is that Sony
Yeah.
or Disney?
Oh wait.
If it's Disney, it will probably be on.
Yeah, it's Sony.
It's Sony. Okay, it might be on Star soon then or something.
Yeah.
But because I'm pretty sure it just got renewed in movie or like re-released in theaters.
Well, so I was following the whole saga on Twitter, and Twitter got like Morbin time, like it's Morbin time trending. So people were like, "Oh, people really want to see this back in theaters. Let's roll it back out." And it made about like $85,000, like as like a re-rollout. Like I don't even think it didn't touch $1 million, like not even close. I think somebody did the math. They're like this averaged like, or maybe it made like a couple 100,000, if that. People averaged it like this would make $85 for every theater it was in. So I do think that's hilarious.
That's probably what it cost to get Jared Leto out of that wheelchair.
See, do you like Jared Leto as an actor?
Yeah, I do.
He's been just put in like so many bad movies, I think, or like he's been put in bad roles. Like this doesn't feel like
I think it's bad roles. Like House of Gucci, like that Italian role that people were really hating on.
Yeah.
I haven't seen House of Gucci yet, but
he wasn't great, and he was, I think, the worst Joker there's been, but also feels tremendously miscast.
I don't think it's either. I don't think anybody could have fit the kind of character they were playing into making it something good. Like I think Jared Leto is exactly what they got out of Jared Leto is exactly what I think the director wanted for that Joker character. And I don't think anybody could have made that good. I think also, it was just
I was gonna say it's also tough coming off the heels of Heath Ledger. This was the first Joker, then the next Joker, even though it was years after, people still have very fond memories of that Heath Ledger Joker.
What do you think about two Jokers right now at the same time? Like they're making a sequel to the Joaquin Phoenix one, and they're gonna be having that Barry Corgan or Corg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him a lot, but it's weird to have two people playing one role in two different like Batman universes.
Well, now it'll be like if they, because the Batman's not directly connected to the DC universe, correct? I don't believe it is.
What do you mean?
Like the new Batman, the Batman, I don't think is directly connected.
Okay.
So that would be like they made.
But is Joker?
No. The Joaquin Phoenix one, I don't believe is either.
What are they doing?
See, that's where it's getting weird, but I almost feel like those are like I'm not a huge Joker fan. Like the Joaquin Phoenix one, I don't think there needs to be a sequel to it. But
I don't disagree.
I think it's gonna be very weird having two Jokers, and it's like now it's gonna be very different too, because the Joaquin Phoenix one is just like a guy that went nuts, that pretty much got bullied into going nuts. We don't know what this new Joker is going to be in the Batman, in the Batman sequel. Like we don't know what his origin story is, because you kind of knew what you find out what the Riddler's was, and it's kind of this like a real life type of scenario where he was an orphan and stuff like that. So now I'm very curious as to what storyline they go with for the new Batman.
I think this next Joker, Barry, I think he's going to be neck and neck with Heath Ledger.
He looks terrifying.
Have you seen him in anything else?
No, I'm saying like the pictures they posted though, like where his teeth are all mangled and his face looks scarred.
Watch the Killing of the Sacred Deer and tell me this guy cannot play the Joker.
I've had that one on my list. Is that good?
It's really good. It's one of those. I feel like Colin Farrell has kind of been typecasted in these like very dry, unemotional types of characters that he plays, like the Lobster, Killing the Sacred Deer, which same actor. After Yang, an A24 movie he was in, which those 3 films he kind of just plays like, I don't want to say the same character, but it's hard to compare it to anything, but it's like he's very monotone in the way he acts from beginning to end. Yeah. Unlike the Penguin.
He was great as the Penguin, I thought.
He's great in everything. He's my favorite actor, probably.
He's your favorite?
Yeah, for sure. Like
Looper
in Bruges, not Looper. Minority Report in Bruges. 7 Psychopaths. Like,
he's good. What was I gonna say? I wrote about it today. I watched a bunch of different movies recently. So The Fighter and Vice were on there. I had a couple others. I want to kind of get your opinion. Have you seen Her with Joaquin Phoenix?
Yep.
Did you like it?
Is that Jennifer Lawrence?
Yeah. Or no. Scarlett Johansson's the voice.
Scarlett Johansson. I love her. She's great.
Her. I thought you. So, do you like the movie Her?
Sorry, I love Scarlett Johansson.
Yes, she is great.
Yeah. It's a movie. I like it.
I thought it just.
I'm not gonna rewatch it, but it's relatively kind of what I thought it was going to be going into it.
Yeah, I seen it got like it's a like another one of those, I think, movies that gets very high reviews from like a certain film crowd. Where I don't know, I wasn't a fan. Another one was Chef. Have you seen that?
Another one with Chef.
No, Chef, the next movie I saw.
I've not seen Chef. I'm gonna look that up.
That just got added to HBO Max.
Is it new?
No, it came out in, I believe, 2014.
With Robert Downey Jr.
Yep. Jon Favreau.
No, recommend?
I would definitely watch it. It's a feel-good movie. And the food they make in it looks like so good too, because it's about like this 5-star chef. I think that was a really, really good one. I liked. Jerry Maguire. Have you seen that with Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
That might be like my favorite Tom Cruise. I like when Tom Cruise acts. Like Top Gun, he's not really acting. Mission Impossible, again, he's not really acting. Like Tom Cruise is being Tom Cruise in those movies. Like this.
That's like Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds.
And it's like Mark Wahlberg being Mark Wahlberg too. Like Mark Wahlberg isn't an actor.
Robert Downey Jr. being Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. But I like this where he's like charismatic. Like he's good in Jerry Maguire. I really enjoyed it.
I do like Tom. I actually do like Tom Cruise a lot though.
Yeah, he's great. I watched A Clockwork Orange for the first time.
Malcolm McDowell.
I didn't realize he's Terrence. I literally saw like an old interview because I was looking up scenes from that, and I didn't realize he's Terrence in Entourage. I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is crazy.
Have you heard of that new Firestarter movie on Peacock?
No.
It's the 3rd remake of this movie. Well, all right. So it came out in '84, I think, with Drew Barrymore when she was like 6 or 5. She was very young. And then they made like a weird part 1, part 2, like a 3-hour movie cut in half, pretty much, into 2 movies.
Gotcha.
In the early 2000s, and the main villain of that was Malcolm McDowell.
Really?
Yeah. So what did you think of Clockwork Orange?
I thought it's definitely one that had to have been before its time.
I don't know about that. I don't think that would do very well right now.
Well, no, I'm saying just like shock value wise, like because like one of the opening scenes, a girl is, getting raped in by like a rival gang, and then they just break out into like a very bizarre fight. And like the fight I find hilarious because it's like these Three Stooges kind of moves that they're doing where like you can literally see like a guy like jump up so he can get thrown through a window. Like the fight scenes to me are very comical, but it's also coming off the heels of a very like serious thing that just happened where like a girl runs off the stage naked. It's bizarre, but I really enjoyed the movie as a whole.
I forgot that's how it started. And that's not even like the only rape of that movie, right?
No, there's the one where Malcolm McDowell or his character like
Yeah.
pretty much they paralyze a guy and then he rapes his wife like right in front of him. And you're like, what is going on? Like this is
I do like the only reason he's thrown in jail is accidentally killing somebody.
yeah, that like that's the crimes they get him on. The best was his parole officer just like showing up in his
Yeah.
house. But I thought it was very good. If he, is it one I'm gonna definitely go back and rewatch right away? No. Um,
I'm not a big Kubrick fan. At least like some of his, I don't like 2001 Space Odyssey very much. Clockwork Orange.
Full Metal Jacket's my favorite movie.
Full Metal Jacket, but doesn't even feel like a Kubrick movie comparing it to the other two.
No. The Shining probably would be. People would say that's probably his best one. That or a Space Odyssey, but I'd say if you're going off like crowd favorites, it's probably The Shining.
I actually forgot about The Shining. Probably. I also out of all those movies, I probably like Jack Nicholson the most.
He had a crazy like final run though, like from 2001: A Space Odyssey to Eyes Wide Shut. In between that, he had Clockwork Orange, Barry Lyndon, The Shining, and Full Metal Jacket. Like all but between 1968 and 1999, which is a pretty for a director is a very impressive run for a guy that started in the 50s. Like that's a great run for him.
For sure.
And then the other movie I watched was There Will Be Blood. The
Yep. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Paul Dano's great in it.
Paul Dano. Also terrifying in that too.
Yeah.
He gets fucked.
What?
At the end?
Oh, the ending is like just so intense.
Found the blood.
Like, my favorite line through that is when he's like, Daniel Day-Lewis is trying to like bargain about getting like either new land or like areas to drill, and the guy Al is like kind of arguing with him, and he just turns to him. He's like, "Don't get thick with me, Al." And like just in the middle of like the argument, just says that to him. I started dying because like some of the things he says in that are so hilarious coming from like that accent and just how serious Daniel Day-Lewis is. It makes it, I think, even funnier.
For sure.
That Daniel Plainview character has got to be one of like the all-time great, villains in a movie, or like an anti-hero at least, just because he is just so swift as a businessman in this and just an absolute bully throughout.
And for some reason, you kind of want him to succeed.
Yeah. When he beats up Paul Dano, Eli Sunday in that, like not when he kills him, but when he like slaps him around in the mud was, I thought,
I loved it.
A great uncomfortable scene. Because people are watching like around and he's literally just like slapping him and dragging him through mud. It was crazy. So yeah, I like that one probably the most of the ones I did watch this past weekend.
What's the first one you said again?
It was The Fighter, but then Her also.
The Fighter's probably my favorite out of all those.
Yeah, The Fighter is definitely probably the one I'd rewatch the most. I mean, I'm not gonna really rewatch Clockwork Orange or There Will Be Blood because There Will Be
Blood is kind of a slow burn.
Very slow burn.
Yeah.
I agree.
There is a payoff, and I mean the whole thing. You stay very engaged with the story that's going on. It was pretty fucked when he was like, "You're not my son."
Yeah, he's pretty much just. And no, I think the worst part of that scene is where he's like, "Why don't you say it? Why don't you say it to me?" And he makes his son like say it to like speak. He's like, "That wasn't so hard, was it?" Very a great Daniel Day-Lewis performance. I'd say that or Gangs in New York, probably his best movie.
Yep,
Um,
for sure.
so okay, so we kind of got derailed a little bit. How did you land going to this premiere? Um,
Literally just straight up Instagram ads. It was nothing about being in the right place, right time. It was just trying to get this people to go to this film. And it was 2 minutes from where I worked. Ridgewood, really nice area. The movie had to be a couple hundred people. It was packed, not one seat without somebody in it. It was insane. It was, yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm gonna send you a link to this website.
Yeah.
They do a lot of. There's this one movie theater in Massachusetts that does a lot of free movie screenings, like
Oh,
before the movie
really?
comes out. Yeah.
So you didn't have to pay for this?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. Didn't have to pay. Didn't have to like know anybody. Just the importance of it is trying to I had to be under a certain demographic of between 18 and 65 or 59. I'm in that. And I'll cut this out. Do you see, are we gonna get cut off?
I see it. I'm trying to upgrade us right now.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about cutting it out. It's all right. I'm literally doing it as we're talking. I'm listening though. Like, so you filled something out pretty much, and they were just like, yeah, just come see a Christian Bale movie.
Yep. Yeah, and then at the end of the movie, everybody got a cell phone and they had to put their input on it. Like it asked us 20-ish questions, and at the end, we were, if you wanted to, you could. That was funny. At the end,
Did you get the alert?
Yeah.
Okay.
At the end, we had like a Q&A with, not a Q&A, but kind of like a little audience meeting with the filmmakers to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, something like that. Also, if Tribeca Film Fest is going on right now, just try to come down. New York City.
When? This week?
I mean, just timing wise, I'm going to tell you this. Did you ask me if I watched Better Call Saul?
I did. Well, Breaking Bad. I'm on Better Call Saul now.
Okay. So yes to both, I guess. But they're playing the first episode of the next part of Better Call Saul at Tribeca with like Bob Odenkirk and everyone there.
When is it? All this week?
It's this weekend.
Ooh.
Like it's obviously the filmmakers and then the producer, and then the whole cast, like Rhea Seehorn, Odenkirk, yeah, everybody there. It's gonna be like the first time they're airing that first episode.
Wow. So okay, I want to talk about that, but so did you have to sign like a non-disclosure, like an NDA, when you watched this movie, or no?
Yes.
Okay. I was definitely curious about that, how that all worked, where it was kind of more. So was the director there, like the producers?
Yep, the director, the producers. I think the director wrote it. I don't remember.
Okay.
But yeah. But I mean, that website that I was telling you that has a lot of early screenings, those are films that have been beyond like marketed, advertised, being pushed pretty heavy right now. This one, Christian Bale is a pretty popular actor. And
he's probably a top 5 acting name of the past 20 years, I'd say. From what he's
especially of these last couple of decades.
Yeah.
You said 20. Yeah. And yeah, the fact that nobody really knows about this movie and they're kind of keeping it a little quiet until they start pushing it for Netflix.
That's crazy. I'm definitely pumped about that. Anything Bale's in, I'll watch. So
I think you'll like it a lot.
All right, I like to hear that. So Breaking Bad, I just finished it. Kind of. So I'm fresh on it. So I know.
Did you watch El Camino?
Not yet. I was actually planning on watching it this week. That's like Jesse's like how he ends up pretty much, right?
Yeah, I don't love it. It's not a spoiler, but to me, it's a movie, but to me it feels like an additional episode or two after Breaking Bad, that wasn't really needed.
Gotcha. That's what I listened to a podcast that when El Camino came out, they said that more like it could have been just a few, like a 2-episode, like a 2-part episode or something with it versus like a hype up for a movie.
Because I feel like what your interpretation of how they left Jesse at Breaking Bad is kind of ambiguous. Like, he's free, but then what? Like,
having not seen El Camino yet, I just assume Jesse ends up somewhere like I don't know, like Idaho or like Montana, just trying to like live a somewhat normal life, but just falls back into drugs.
I don't know how to respond to that. I mean,
no. I'm just saying, like, that's just what I assume. Like, as somebody that just finished the series.
I wish.
Oh, it's a bummer. Who's your favorite character throughout the show
of Breaking Bad?
Yeah,
I feel like my answer is different after Better Call Saul. Like, I feel like
okay.
I don't want to say Walter. That's a good question. I don't know. Like right now, like I'm just on like a Saul kick.
Like, yeah, no, and Saul is like a great side character in Breaking Bad. Like, and so like him, the best is when they both try to run away, him and Walter White, and like they end up in that same like underground bedroom waiting to get picked up. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I thought that was just hilarious. But if I had to go through that whole series,
probably Badger.
Badger's your favorite character of like the whole Breaking Bad series.
Great character.
Jesus.
I don't want to pick a character like a Walter, a Jesse, a Saul, but I love Badger.
I loved what's his
Skinny
name
Pete.
The whole time he was in it, Gus.
Very important part of Better Call Saul.
And I love Hank too. Like Hank is just I thought was hilarious throughout, and like I loved the whole plot where it's pretty much he's like this great DEA agent, and essentially like he pretty much restarted the whole blue meth case. How like got everybody like kicked everybody in the ass about it at the DEA office. Was like, hey, this stuff is popping up again. Like, let's keep looking for it. Is like this genius in that whole department, and then just his brother-in-law is pretty much just dealing meth right under his nose, or is cooking meth, like the biggest meth cook in the whole Southwest.
Mike Ehrmantraut is also a big part of Better Call Saul.
Yeah, I mean he starts off early as the ticket guy at the court, where him and Saul pretty much fight every day about that.
You started Better Call Saul.
Yeah, you don't have enough tickets. No, what is it? Stickers. You don't have enough stickers.
Gotta go back.
Gotta go back. Does this make you feel good? Now I have to walk all the way back there and get another sticker.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna show you something I bought when I was 13 real quick.
Is this Breaking Bad related?
Yep.
All right, so Brett is off camera currently, off mic. Going to get something he bought when he was, like you said, 13, Breaking Bad related. So I am very curious as to what this could be. If it's maybe a poster or an action figure, possibly a t-shirt. I don't know. I mean, I definitely got on the Breaking Bad kick way too late. Brett's back. Is that an RV? Oh, it's the RV. Oh my God. That's awesome.
I bought that when I was like 13 at a comic book store, like right next to where I live.
So was that like peak Breaking Bad when you were 13? That's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh my God. I think that was still before the finale.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because the finale would have been the fall of my freshman year of high school.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, and what would you say would be like your least favorite kind of plot line throughout the show? Like your favorite and least favorite, like one that you couldn't really care about, and then one you like obviously loved. Like not like the main thing where it's like he's cooking meth to get money for his family, but like kind of stuff that popped up throughout seasons.
See, one thing that like when I said I just bought those, I was so young when I watched that I don't remember that show as vividly as I would have liked.
Yeah.
So right after Better Call Saul ends, Zoe and I are gonna rewatch Breaking Bad.
Gotcha.
She watched Breaking Bad, and we're watching Better Call Saul, but there's so much that I forgot.
Yeah.
But then there's so much that's referenced in Better Call Saul that I'm like, I get it,
Right.
but I want to get it even more.
No, that makes sense.
Probably something Jesse related. I feel like I remember just getting very annoyed at Jesse.
I remember like on TikTok, like I ended up on Breaking Bad TikTok before I watched the show. So I don't know how, like the algorithm just like led me there, and then I watched the show. And I remember seeing like all these TikToks about Jane, and like Jane was in it for like 3 episodes.
Oh, Jessica Jones, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, she was in it for, people were making it like she was like a main character. Like I understand her plot, like why Jesse becomes who Jesse is kind of like part of that, but like she was in it for 3 episodes. I thought this was gonna be like a long haul type of thing.
Yeah, what's crazy is I feel like, you know, with it being years since I watched that show, if you told me how long she was in that show, I probably would have told you a full season. Like
I think
feels
maybe
like
technically, but like scenes where like episodes where she's actually like in it versus just like a reference or like a quick, you see her through like at the house, is probably 2 or 3. I mean, you see her death, you see when they go to like the art museum and stuff like that. But other than
when
that,
Walter's in the room watching her die.
That is that I think was the turn, like from Walter White to Heisenberg right there. Like watching your partner's girlfriend die and just not do anything about it was wild.
Did you watch Jessica Jones?
Jessica Jones?
Yeah, remember when Netflix was doing like Marvel shows like Daredevil, Punisher, Luke Cage?
I never got into those.
Jessica Jones was the one right after Daredevil, and the girl that played Jane was the main character of that show.
Oh, I thought her name was Jessica Jones.
No.
Oh.
Well, in the show.
No. I thought her name, like her actual name was
no,
Jessica
I don't know
Jones.
her name.
She's in El Camino.
Okay.
Oh.
But I must have been like a flashback.
Yeah. She's gotta be. Oh, she's in She's Out of My League, a very funny Jay Baruchel or whatever movie from the mid 2000s. Very, very funny movie. But yeah, so that Breaking Bad was definitely better than I thought. I would probably put it, like, if I had to do my top 5 TV shows, I did my top 50. And like that was after I'd only seen seasons 1 and 2 of Breaking Bad, so it was lower. I would probably put that in the 5th spot. I've got Entourage 1, Friday Night Lights 2, BoJack Horseman 3, The Sopranos 4, and Breaking Bad 5. Law and Order SVU gets the boot.
Aaron Paul is in 2 out of 5.
And like dummy me, I didn't even realize Aaron Paul is in is one of the biggest characters in BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
I was like looking through the cast one day. I was looking through Aaron Paul's like IMDb, and I'm like, oh, he was in BoJack Horseman. Oh, he was in 60 episodes of BoJack Horseman. I was like, oh my God, he plays Todd. Like, this is awesome.
He's the best character.
Yeah. But that's another I think that's a you either like really like it or hate it show for people. And I've rewatched that a few times. I really enjoy it, but Entourage definitely takes that 1 spot.
I feel like you with Breaking Bad was kind of like me when I watched The Wire, in the sense of, I mean, obviously The Wire, I started watching it much longer after that ended, opposed to you watching Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But popularity wise, they're not far from each other on like top 5, top 10 of all time on IMDb. Like, no, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
But I got into The Wire knowing this is one of the best shows of all time. And I'm like, why? Like, and I loved it, and I agree with that opinion. I was watching Breaking Bad when it was on, which now that I think back on it, I don't know if I should have been, because I was like,
I'm like doing the timetable in my head. I'm like, I don't think this is a great, as like Gus Fring is jamming a box cutter into a dude's neck.
Yeah, I probably started when I was 13. So I started around when the first part of season 4 started.
Okay.
And then I was caught up for the finale.
Gotcha.
I was not 10 years old watching them cook some meth.
That would have been
and you started Breaking Bad with that same kind of opinion, with that same kind of universal perception of that show being one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
So obviously you told me your top 5. Do you think it, led up to that?
Breaking Bad?
Yep.
I'd say I put it in my top 5.
No, but
as at number 5.
So yeah, that surprised me that you said, not surprised me, but I'm happy to hear that it was still better than you thought it would be.
Yeah, no, it definitely, because I didn't know, you hear it's hyped up, and I don't think there's gonna be a show like, well, I like Entourage a lot more. I think Sopranos is one of the best dramas ever. And like without Sopranos, there's no Breaking Bad. Without Breaking Bad, there's no Ozark, which essentially comes from there being no Sopranos. Yeah. Because if you look at the similarities between the Sopranos and Breaking Bad, this is not a new thing that I'm coming up with either. I'm sure people have said this before, but it's you have a guy that pretty much becomes the main character, just becomes an even bigger monster over time throughout the show.
Yeah.
You have annoying kids. What's for breakfast, Dad? Like I hated that. I absolutely hated Walter Jr.
Yeah. Ozark is Breaking Bad if
Jason Bateman,
or if Skyler wasn't annoying.
Oh, Skyler's the worst.
But Wendy is if Skyler was like pretty much helping Walter. Like,
yeah,
Skyler could have been Wendy.
Oh God, Skyler, like the best. My favorite like moment with Skyler in it is when she just like, I had sex with Ted Beneke today, and then just like walks and puts stuff on the table. I'm like, this asshole. You're gonna do that to Walter? You're really gonna do that to Walter? Like, I was so baffled, but it was also just hilarious in the moment.
Did you finish Ozark?
No, I wasn't like huge on Ozark. I couldn't get through.
Where did you leave off?
Like middle of season 2, honestly.
Okay.
I was just like, but I definitely, it's good. It wasn't for me, I guess. I definitely should give it. I'm probably gonna give it a shot again because
I think you'll like it.
I really liked season 1, and maybe after seeing Breaking Bad too, I'll find like a new soft spot for it, I guess. But
yeah, I will say, the dude who played, I don't even know. Look up Beth's cousin on Google for Ozark. I don't know if you remember who that is. Beth's cousin, Ozark. I forgot his name, but if you see his face, because that actor also played a very small part in that new Christian Bale film.
Talking about Wyatt?
I am talking about Wyatt. I couldn't remember his name.
Oh, the kid with the long hair. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. That girl that played Beth, I would say that she is the biggest thing to come out of Walter, of the biggest thing to come out of Ozark, that of an actor not being too established already. Like Jason Bateman and Laura Linney are already like, they're pretty at their peak already. Julia Garner is doing like, she was in that new Inventing Anna show on Netflix. That I think that came out right before the second half of the new season of Ozark, and she was just offered, and maybe she accepted the new part of Madonna in her new biopic.
Oh, she did. That's one I'll definitely be interested in.
Yeah, and she's great. I think everybody else in that show, she's probably the biggest like person to come out of it, who nobody really knew beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Who would you say that for Breaking Bad? Jesse?
I'd say, yeah, probably Aaron Paul.
Yeah.
Or even honestly Walter White. Brian, because he got Malcolm in the Middle after.
Before.
Was Malcolm in the Middle before or after?
Like over a decade before.
Oh, really? Oh, Jesus. might have been
I
reading.
grew up watching Malcolm in the Middle.
No, you know what? That timeline's making a lot of sense now. Making a lot of sense. Yeah, no, that first episode 2000. So yeah, I'd go probably Aaron Paul or I would say like Dean Norris, but he hasn't been in anything really after.
Who's that? Is that Hank? Okay.
Hank.
He was in that show that Dome show after?
Oh, I know. He might have been.
Did they try to put him in that Stephen King show?
Under the Dome, yeah.
Is he in that?
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah. There's certain people that they try to push. Like Aaron Paul, I think everybody tried to hop on that train after Breaking Bad, and I don't think it did very well. Like he was in probably still a great season. He was probably in the least best season of Westworld.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they probably would have tried to make like a franchise out of that Need for Speed stuff. I don't know. I feel like he hasn't really gotten to where people kind of expected him to be after Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Is it Need for Speed?
Hank went to Harvard.
Hank or the actor?
Dean Norris, but he's like, this is a guy, he'll be defined by his role as Hank like the rest of his life, I feel like, unless he's in like another great thing. But like you look at him, you're like, that's Hank.
It's Hank.
Like Cranston, I feel like there's a mix definitely of people that like grew up watching Malcolm in the Middle or people that watched Breaking Bad. You could look at him as either.
Just check out IMDb. If you see the films that he's in, it's not like he's like a cameo role. Like
he was in that Kevin
did you watch
Hart
Your Honor?
No.
That was a really good show. He played the main character of that. But then many other films like Argo, like
Freddy's in Argo.
Yeah, like he's in a lot of movies that like he has a pretty sizable role in.
What's his name? Walter White or Flynn. He'll be defined by his role as Walter White Jr. Whoever played him, like that. Like the majority of the actors in that will definitely be defined by like what they did in Breaking Bad. Like that'll be, you'll look at them and that's like the first thing you'll think of.
I remember seeing a Hollywood Undead music video when I was in high school, and the beginning of that music video had Walter White Jr. in it.
Jesus Christ.
It's tremendous.
Why? What?
It's tremendous.
It's so bizarre.
I would remember that actor from a Hollywood Undead music video.
What's his name? We've kind of been like Jesse Plemons was very good in Breaking Bad.
Yep.
And then again, another movie I just watched, Vice. I still don't understand his role fully in Vice. He was just like the narrator in it.
Yeah.
But like he's kind of made a bit of a comeback. I think his biggest role, he's in two of the biggest TV shows of the past 20 years in Friday Night Lights and Breaking Bad, and plays, substantial roles in both.
I think the first thing I know he was in Breaking Bad. I saw Breaking Bad before this, but did you watch Game Night?
Game Night? No, I don't think so.
He played a pretty creepy cop in that. Who's in that again?
Oh, yeah. I've seen like
Jason Bateman, Rachel McAdams. Yeah.
He's fourth build in this.
Oh, he's watched that movie.
All right.
Kyle Chandler, who was
Friday Night Lights, Coach Taylor.
Mayor of Kingstown. This dude is like he's on the poster of that show.
Clemens is or Kyle Chandler?
Kyle Chandler. He is on the poster of that show and got in the first episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude got his brain got blown out.
The first guy on the poster.
Did you just look it up?
I didn't realize he gets killed in the.
He got his brains blown in the first episode.
He was awesome in what's it called? Why am I blanking right now? Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh yeah,
everybody is. That was like the perfect role for him though, like that FBI agent that couldn't really relate to a guy like Jordan Belfort. And like you see the two differences when like they're negotiating on the boat, or like Belfort tries to, or Leo tries to like bribe him. I thought was great. And another one he's good in is Manchester by the Sea, playing Casey Affleck's brother.
I haven't seen that.
Oh, that's a good. I recommend that one for you. That's a tearjerker, definitely.
Yeah. What's your biggest tearjerker?
Ooh.
So I'm a bitch, and 7 pounds with Will Smith would be mine.
Oh, I had it actually. I saw
Have you
like a
seen that?
movie. Huh? I have
Have
not
you
seen that. I saw a movie thing a while back and I like tweeted it out. And one of the things on there was like a movie that makes you cry. I forget what I put. Oh, mine has to be like no doubt about it. Like I'm gonna start crying when I see it is Up. Like the
Oh,
opening scene in
yeah.
Up. Like I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be bawling my eyes out in that. I don't know. Like it's all the Disney movies have like a way of just doing that. Like it's a great plot, like cute characters, and then just fucking rip your heart out and make you want to just cry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like a
Yeah. Coco made me
non
cry.
movie though. Perks of Being a Wallflower, I'd say is definitely one of those
Oh,
two.
yep.
That's a sad movie. Especially like
Happy movie also, but
yeah, it's like it's a very mixed like the
it's an
emotional.
emotional roller coaster, Andrew.
Yeah, that's the term for it. It hits you like every which way though. You're like, oh, I'm super happy, and then you just get
You know,
punched in
I
the
do
face.
want you to watch this movie, but 7 pounds.
Okay.
So Will Smith's character, I forgot how long ago this happens before like the actual timeline of the film,
Mhm.
but he kills 7 people, including his wife, in an automobile accident. And he spends like the rest of his life using his like body parts to save 7 people for the 7 lives that he killed, like giving somebody bone marrow, a kidney.
God.
But then he falls in love with this one woman and he kills himself and gives her his heart.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God.
But like the end of that, just like the concept of loving someone so much and literally giving them your heart, that got me.
Oh God. That's so fucking sad.
And I think he did it with like jellyfish. I think he put like jellyfish in a bathtub or something weird like
That's how he
that.
killed himself?
I think so. I could be
Oh.
something like that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's brutal.
It was incredible. It's tremendous.
Yeah, I'd say definitely Perks of Being a Wallflower, Up, and Manchester by the Sea would be my
Yeah.
3. So I want to talk about the WWE signing stuff. We talked about it a little bit before we started taping, but so the WWE has kind of made a splash where they've been signing college athletes. We've been following it obviously because wrestlers are getting signed. Like the first 2 big ones that were got signed that kind of piqued our interest were Gable and Ferrari. Now
Ferrari in Paris, right?
oh yeah, Paris was there too.
Oh
And
no,
then
and
Gable.
Gable. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, but I forgot about Paris. That's completely forgot. He kind of signed around that same time they all did.
Yeah.
But now it seems like a new wave of guys got signed, guys and girls, I should say. And Colton Schultz, for at least us, seems like the headline guy that just got signed out of that. And it's that one to me is very surprising. I know you said you're a little surprised about it too. Yeah, it's it's not the most charismatic group. They're not the biggest charmers. If anybody of them is a charmer, it's AJ Ferrari that got signed.
And that's the least likely one I see going that route.
I see Ferrari on his legs straddling the cage of an octagon after he knocks somebody out and just screaming into a mic. That feels most.
I see him going to like the acting or something. Like I don't.
Well, he's gonna try everything. Like I feel like he is going to try WWE. He's definitely gonna try UFC at some point, or some type of MMA.
He said in an interview in Stillwater that he's gonna at Final X in Stillwater, which was nothing compared to Final X New York City, which we'll talk about next time.
Yep.
But yeah, like he was talking about he's still gonna try to make the 2024 Olympic team and win a gold medal in the Olympics. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, he's gonna go the pro wrestling route, which I just don't see happening. I think he likes the idea of it, but I think that's all it is. I think he just likes the idea of it
What
more.
sucks is like he would be if it wasn't so scripted, like down to a T, he would be so great. I think in that because he's just got a great personality. Like I don't look at Mason Paris and think, wow, this kid's got it. Like he has the it factor, like where he could work a mic. And that's the same with Colton Shorts and even Gable. Gable will be like Gable's got that star power where he's a big guy, he's an athlete, but he's not a very charismatic character.
Well, I mean, have you ever heard Brock Lesnar on a microphone?
I have.
He
It's
sounds
not
like a
great.
12-year-old girl.
It's like not great, but I don't know. It just I feel like coming in now, like you've got such star power, like working the mic helps. Like that it's a huge help. And if you could do that, you're automatically gonna get a tier up in the WWE where you can like pump up a crowd by not just doing a move where you can like pretty much give a little speech.
Yeah. I know you don't follow that world too much, but I will say this. Is there one person that you know of in WWE that you were like, oh my God, they will do something. They have that it factor. They will succeed in WWE, and they did.
No, because like when I like the few times I've watched WWE, it's been like I'm watching the big names and like the stars. A guy that I think will have a very big career in the world of WWE is Pat McAfee.
I agree.
I mean, the match he had was unbelievable. Like he looked awesome, and then like was announcing the whole night, had a match, and then I think it was at the Royal Rumble or the SmackDown or some giant event. I think it was the Royal Rumble. Had a match and then went back to announcing. Like he is a very entertaining guy and can work the mic. Is a very good athlete and just like he's a fan favorite. So I think he will definitely have a big career in maybe not, but probably not as a wrestler, but in just that whole world of wrestling. Well, what about you?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I do agree that Pat McAfee is probably one of the best personalities out of that right now, but part of that has to do with one, who he is outside of. That has to do with him being himself.
Yeah.
Like who he is on like the commentary table is the same person who he is on his podcast, which I don't think Ferrari's going to have that luxury because real Ferrari
impression there
was tremendous. Tremendous. Because real Ferrari is unfiltered.
Yeah.
Is unfilterable.
600-pound deadlift, baby. Let's go. Like, it's so off the cuff. Like, he definitely had that prepared, Ferrari. Like,
I don't think he did.
You don't think? I feel like at some point in his head, he was like, I'm telling people about this deadlift. Like, I'm letting them know.
Yeah. No, I don't see it personally. Like, the real wrestlers that have gone that route, like, I forgot his name, but his name is Chad Gable in WWE. He was a Greco guy. Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar. They are only successful in there because of their actual like wrestling ability, quote unquote. Like how they've been able to adapt to that type of wrestling. And the people that are successful on the microphone, like The Rock, let's say, like I'd say The Rock is probably top 3 of all time on the microphone. He's still told what to say relatively or somewhat. And part of that is still just kind of being like one of those company men, just kind of doing, which I don't see Ferrari doing.
No, Ferrari will not be a company guy.
Yeah, like he's already not a wrestling guy. Like he wasn't even like enrolled in college this year, supposedly.
Really?
At least second semester, I don't think.
Jesus, that's he's definitely a character, to say the least. Before we close a little bit, Are there any wrestlers that you think would be good on the pod? Because we need a new wave of guys going through NCAAs next year. Like we had our 4. We had Amos, Hilliger, Ridge Lovett, and Stephen Buchanan. We need more.
Here's a
who
question.
is dark horses that we think we can get on the pod that we could root
Going
for?
into this past season, who do you think out of those 4 would have done the best? I would have guessed Amos. Beginning of last.
I would have said Amos off. I love it. Honestly, would have been like the 3rd guy for me.
I agree. I think Hilger would have been last.
Yeah, because Buchanan was good last year. Buchanan was very good last year, and then he didn't make it. He didn't make it to the finals this past year.
No, it was Warner and Dean.
Yeah. Okay. So I would have definitely said probably Amos, Buchanan, Lovett, Hilger. And Hilger didn't place. The only two of those 2 that placed was Lovett and Buchanan.
Lovett was in the finals. I don't think anybody had.
I loved seeing it. I want to get him back on soon.
For sure.
Back out.
I'll make a little list of who I think would be accessible.
My white whale this offseason is Wyatt Hendrickson of Air Force.
Let's get him.
I want him bad because I also I don't want to bash him and then have him on, but he disappointed so much. I feel like
he's so young though.
I know, but I was so pumped. I was like, this is my dark horse. This is my guy that's gonna take 3rd. I didn't think he was gonna make the finals, but I was like, this is my guy who's gonna definitely take 3rd or 4th, and people are not gonna know who Wyatt Hendrickson is. He's gonna put Air Force wrestling on the map. Let's go. And then he didn't place. I was so disappointed because I just wanted him to place so bad.
You wanted him to place right here, but did you think he was gonna place right here?
That's fair.
And for the listeners, I pointed to my heart and then brain.
That's it is fair. I definitely thought he'd be a top 8 guy or possibly a top 6.
Yeah. I mean, one thing about it's kind of weird that college heavy right now is very similar to UFC heavyweight, meaning there's the top 2 or 3 and then there's a huge drop off. I mean, this year specifically, or this past year, there was Gable and then a huge drop off. I'd say for UFC, it's Ngannou, Cyril Gane, maybe Curtis Blades, but then huge drop off, Tom Aspinall. But then the 5 through 8 guys, which are the 5 through 8 best in the world, are not they're trash compared to the top 3.
Who is that guy at heavyweight next year? Do you think it's kind of maybe a 3-man race between Kirkfleet, Paris, and Cassiope?
A healthy Kirkfleet, I think, wins.
And healthy Kirkfleet's a stud. Paris, it feels like he's just declined a little bit over his. I don't know. He came in so hot as a freshman that he's just kind of stayed stagnant. I feel like.
Paris?
Yeah.
Paris started so hot.
Almost peaked.
Was relatively successful in high school. I didn't think he was going to do as well as he did his early college career. I think some kind of injury definitely did hold him back a little this year, especially during Nationals time, which he did All-American.
Yeah.
And not to mention that he did beat Gwiz before last year. People thought very high of Paris. Yeah. I still think they should. He has a high possibility that he could at least be in the finals next year.
Yeah. Do you like Cassiope at all?
What do you mean?
Just in general to compete with either of those 2.
I mean, he's beaten Kirk this year, but again, a healthy Kirk I think is different. And I don't think he's ever beaten Paris.
All right. On the outside looking in of those 3, who I think are the top 3 heavyweights going into next year. Any guys on the outside intrigue you? Colton Schultz, Hilger,
Colton Schultz,
the
guy who made the finals this year.
I hate him so much. I honestly,
Colton Schultz.
I fucking hate Colton Schultz.
I hate watching Greco, which Greco at Final X this year thank God we got the matches that we got at this one, because it was actually scoring Greco. Like Alan Vera, like he got a pin in like the first minute in the first match and like wrecked the dude in the second. Kamal Bay got like tech the dude in the first in the second match, close first match. Kamal Bay finally back after the weird USADA thing. But yeah, Colin Schultz, you get what you're gonna get with him. He's gonna like somewhat demolish the dudes a lot worse than him, but then those top guys, like he shouldn't have had that close of a match with Jordan Wood for someone that's in a finals. Yeah. Like
I hate Colton Schultz unless he comes on the show, then I'll be
Cassiope versus Colin. I'm very interested in. Like
yeah.
Cassiope, we're gonna see him. Was he in the juniors last year or U23s?
I think juniors.
So he won a junior title last year, and he's on the U23 team this year.
Yeah. I don't know. I who was it that we irrationally hate from Cal Poly?
Bernie Truax.
Bernie Truax. Fuck Bernie Truax. Completely forgot about that.
Would he take third this year or something?
Yeah, I was like so disappointed. Like I was so pumped to see like a small school guy like place, and then I'm like, oh, it's Bernie Truax. Should I DM him again? Be like, hey man, really want to get you on the pod. Really love you.
No, because he's probably gonna say yes, and you're gonna like him.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna like him. Like me and Bernie Truax will be best friends. We'll be hanging out. Like,
what was I gonna say? Who else is at heavyweight?
Tate Orndorff from Ohio State. I like Zach Elam.
I was gonna say something about Truax's only loss before Nationals was to Mark Hall. I'm pretty sure.
Jesus Christ.
Who wasn't even enrolled in college? Who was a college graduate?
That's a pretty good loss to have. Like that's one like you're not gonna be too bummed about.
It's so weird when retired guys try to get into like college tournaments, like David Taylor in Midlands in like 2016, 2015.
We have a Connecticut guy ranked 30th out of 33 heavyweights from App State, Michael Burchell.
Why do I know that name? All right.
He was the dude that was like, roided out, like like a roid freak as a senior in high school.
That's not the dude is that the dude at Hand? Or
yeah, from Hand.
He's okay. Yeah, that dude was humongous.
Like, for no reason. I'm like,
I know you don't follow UFC too heavy, but Glover, who threw that fight away in the last 20 seconds on Saturday.
You're talking about Glover Teixeira here?
Yeah. He was winning on this. Did you just look that up?
Yeah, I just literally typed in Glover UFC.
He was winning on the scorecards going to the fifth. He was winning the fifth the whole fight and got submitted in the last like 20-ish seconds. He lives in Danbury, Connecticut.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He lost to Yuri
Prohaska.
Yuri Prohaska. That's what I was doing. That was my next guess.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you a video. He came back to either yesterday or today. He's from Czech Republic, and they had like a huge like not riot's not the right word, but the amount of people that were there to see him was really cool.
Like a festival form, a parade of sorts.
Yeah, parade. That's a good one.
That's awesome.
A riot to see him.
Yeah, they're grabbing at his clothes and trying to tear him down.
I love
it. Before we really wrap up, Final X, how was it?
It's tremendous.
You and Sean went?
And Zoe.
Jesus, you better marry this girl. You've dragged her around to so much wrestling that she said she liked it at first, but
she loves it.
It gets to a point where she's gonna end up she's gonna stop lying to you and telling you that she loves wrestling.
Dude, her favorite is Sarah Hildebrandt. She loves her cats.
That's a good call. That's a good call.
Dude, in the boring matches, she was playing Pokemon Go. So we have the best of both worlds right there. But I mean, yeah, it was good though. Like pretty much all the people you'd want to see going to like a that kind of wrestling event. Like it was awesome to see David Taylor, Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs, Jason Nolf, Zahid, Helen Maroulis, Hildebrandt. Like pretty much the best of the best, and relatively 3 of the top 4 or 5 best in the last 20 years were there, and it was awesome.
That is sweet.
No match disappointed. There was a bit of like a point discrepancy in like the second matches. Like Zahid versus DT, the first match was pretty close. DT like teched him in the second match. Jordan Burroughs versus Chance Marsteller went to the third, which was interesting.
Wow. I love Marsteller. He's awesome.
He has such a unique frame. He's like a human wall.
He also just looks like a dude. Like you look at him, you just be like, yeah, it's just a dude. Like if you saw him there and he was not wearing it, like maybe just like down there, you'd be like, oh, like who are you like taking pictures of? You think he'd just be like a photographer or something.
He looks like he works at a gym.
Yeah, yeah. He honestly reminds me of like a younger Flynn is what I see.
He 100%. That's what Sean said, actually. Dake and Nolf close in the first match. Nolf actually took him down at one point. Was not close in the second. Helen murdered the girl in both matches. It was great. I gotta send you some pictures that for a wrestling crowd at the Hulu Theater and MSG, there must have, I don't think there was one seat empty.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Next year you have to come down.
I 100% will.
And there's no way they're not going to be there next year. Like that's the only place I've seen that is sold out for wrestling.
All right. I love that. Yeah, I'll definitely come down for that.
And it helps having like, well, I know Vito and Gilman were at the Stillwater one, but let's just say they were at the New York one, like Vito, Cornell, like some more Cornell fans right there. It just helps that a lot of the guys were from the Northeast or wrestle in the Northeast.
Which is great. You get that Penn State, Ohio State,
Cornell,
Rutgers, Princeton, like any of the Ivy Leagues, any of that EIWA, guys that wrestle in that, they're going to draw that crowd right to New York. So it's just the center of everything.
Exactly.
Which that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw any videos or pictures, but the Stillwater one had pretty poor attendance.
Really? Stillwater, it's like, but it's also like if you're going to travel for one of them, would you rather travel to Stillwater, Oklahoma, or New York City? Like,
but then if you just compare the two match cards, besides like a very select few people like Snyder, Cox, Zane, and Jo, they don't have as much star power to me. Then I would say Snyder, sure,
yeah,
but then the rest of them, I don't think their star power like sniffs the people that were in Final X New York City.
Yeah, it doesn't equate to that. Like, it's just
not at all.
But all right, this was a fun pod back. I can't lie. This was a good one. Hopefully we'll be back. We will be back to a normal schedule this summer. With Brett and I definitely taping a lot more. What's up?
You know, one thing I realized that I could do is let's just say you or I knock out 3 in a week, theoretically, or you and some guests that we have lined up, some wrestling ones that we can do. I can schedule them, meaning let's just say I have 3 right now that I can upload. I can already schedule them for the next 3 weeks through like the actual Anchor platform.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So that won't really affect like guests. Like that'll be if we have guests on, I can just send that over to you and we could get those up whenever. Like
so we don't have to worry about like
I want it.
Yes, we don't have to worry about like my human error at times.
Yeah.
Like
oh, perfect. All right, that works.
So let's just say you record it on a Sunday, send it to me on Sunday, and on Sunday I upload it to go up on Wednesday.
Perfect. Do you want to record next week or not next week? End of this week.
Sunday.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. Thank you for listening to this episode of the My Parents Office podcast. Stay tuned for more episodes. You kind of just you got to see how the sausage is made right there. A little peek behind the curtain for everybody. So hope you enjoyed this episode. Back in the office, which is great, back here for about 2 months, and then I'm out. But yeah, thank you for listening to this episode. Make sure you're following us on social media at My Parents Office on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, Facebook, My Parents Office podcast, and Articles from the Office on Substack. Go ahead and leave us a 5-star review as well on Apple, Spotify, like and subscribe on YouTube. But yeah, thank you guys.